Have you ever found yourself lying awake at 2 in the morning, watching the ceiling fan spin slowly and wondering if pulling back from certain private habits might be changing more than just your bedtime routine? Tonight we're talking about a question many men whisper about but rarely bring up to their doctors. What really happens when a man over 60 stops masturbating? I'm sharing this because of a conversation I had recently with a patient I'll call Harold. Harold is 72, proud grandfather of 5, a retired railway engineer who still wakes up before dawn out of sheer habit. He confessed that, after decades of what he called a steady rhythm, he simply lost interest in self-pleasure over the past year. No illness, no medication, just a quiet fading of desire. Harold wasn't alarmed at first, until subtle changes began creeping in. He noticed his mood dipping on gray afternoons, his sleep pattern shifting, and an odd ache in his lower back that no stretching seemed to soothe. He wondered, could this be connected to me stopping entirely? That's when he booked an appointment. Sitting across from me, I'm Dr. Nolan Easton, urologist and men's health specialist for more than 30 years, and asked point blank, "Doc, am I hurting my body by not, taking care of business anymore?" Questions like Harold's are why I'm here with you right now. Because so many older gentlemen silently step away from self-stimulation and then wonder whether they're neglecting an invisible part of their health. The answer isn't a simple yes or no. It's a tapestry of hormonal balance, vascular fitness, mental well-being, even prostate care, and understanding that tapestry can help you navigate this season of life with clarity and confidence. If you stay with me. He noticed his mood dipping on gray afternoons, his sleep pattern shifting, and an odd ache in his lower back that no stretching seemed to soothe. He wondered, could this be connected to me stopping entirely? That's when he booked an appointment. Sitting across from me, I'm Dr. Nolan Easton, urologist and men's health specialist for more than 30 years, and asked point blank, "Doc, am I hurting my body by not, taking care of business anymore?" Questions like Harold's are why I'm here with you right now. Because so many older gentlemen silently step away from self-stimulation and then wonder whether they're neglecting an invisible part of their health. The answer isn't a simple yes or no. It's a tapestry of hormonal balance, vascular fitness, mental well-being, even prostate care, and understanding that tapestry can help you navigate this season of life with clarity and confidence. If you stay with me, you'll discover how tiny changes in daily routine, including how you approach or avoid masturbation, can ripple through your energy levels, your mood, and your intimate relationships. I remember Harold leaning in, voice hushed, not out of shame but genuine curiosity, and that's the spirit I invite you to share. You deserve straightforward answers delivered with respect. So before we continue, if conversations like this one help you feel seen and supported, gently tap that thumbs up below, subscribe, and ring the bell icon so we meet again each week. And because your feedback shapes the advice I give, type yes in the comments if you've ever wondered about this topic, or no if it never crossed your mind. Either way, I read every response to better serve you. Now, let's return to Harold's journey. The first piece he and I explored together was hormonal rhythm. After 60, testosterone naturally slides downward, not a cliff dive, more like a gentle hill. Regular sexual activity, including self-pleasure, can give that hormone a modest nudge, like tapping a barometer glass to settle the reading. When Harold quit altogether, his testosterone drifted lower still. That shift can echo through energy, muscle tone, and even bone strength. Harold noticed his afternoon naps lengthened and his grip weakened when he opened stubborn jars. Though masturbation isn't a miracle tonic, for some men it helps maintain circulating testosterone, offering a subtle but meaningful boost. Yet hormones are only the overture. Vascular health plays the symphony. Erections are essentially pressure mechanics, blood racing in, staying put, then draining away. When Harold stopped stimulating himself, he unknowingly skipped what cardiologists cheekily call a cardiovascular rehearsal. Gentle, periodic erections encourage healthy blood flow in pelvic vessels, nourishing tissue and keeping elasticity. Without them, those vessels can stiffen, much like a garden hose left inactive all winter. Harold's lower back ache? Part of it traced back to reduced pelvic circulation, an issue we confirmed with a quick Doppler scan. I shared with Harold what I'm sharing with you. We can think of the male anatomy as a classic car. Even if you never plan a full road trip, turning the engine over now and then keeps pistons lubricated and prevents rust in the fuel line. It isn't about chasing teenage performance, it's about maintenance. When Harold grasped that concept, his shoulders visibly relaxed. There was no prescription, no judgment. Just an invitation to view his own body kindly, mechanically, sensibly. But what if a man feels no urge? Should he force the matter? Here's where mental and emotional well-being steps onto the stage. For some, stepping back from self-pleasure coincides with fresh peace. Fewer intrusive thoughts, a newfound spiritual focus, more time for hobbies. For others, like Harold, it leaves a hollow space that used to provide momentary stress relief and a private ritual of self-care. When that ritual disappears without a replacement, a daily walk, deep breathing, gentle stretching, mood can dip, anxiety can tiptoe in, and sleep, governed partly by the same neurochemicals released during climax, can fracture. Harold revealed that since putting intimacy on pause, he woke 3 times a night, mind churning through to-do lists. He and I collaborated on simple swaps, evening breathing exercises, light pelvic floor movements, and reintroducing gentle stimulation twice a week, purely as body maintenance rather than obligation. Within 6 weeks, he reported sleeping 5 solid hours before his first overnight bathroom visit, a big win in his book, and his mood journal, something I encourage all patients to keep, showed brighter entries. Throughout our discussions, one question bubbled up: what about the prostate? Research shows that regular ejaculation, whether with a partner or solo, can help flush prostate ducts, potentially reducing congestion and the chronic inflammation that sometimes precedes more serious issues. It's not a guaranteed shield, but part of a broader strategy that includes hydration, diet rich in antioxidants, and annual checkups. Harold liked the idea that a few private minutes, taken on his own schedule, could serve as another gentle tool in his prostate care toolbox. As Harold's story unfolds, and we'll weave deeper into it soon, remember that every body tells a unique tale. If you choose to step away from self-pleasure, do so with mindfulness. Replacing the physical and hormonal micro-benefits with other healthful practices. If you continue, view it not as indulgence but as upkeep, akin to brushing your teeth or stretching your calves before a brisk walk. The goal is balance, dignity, and ownership of your own well-being. I see doubt flicker in the eyes of many men who sit in my consultation room. Is it normal to feel different desires now? Am I broken if I stop? Am I shameful if I continue? My answer mirrors what I told Harold. Aging isn't about losing parts of yourself, it's about learning new rhythms. What matters is how those rhythms nourish your mind, your circulation, and your sense of vitality. So tonight, as you settle into your favorite chair with perhaps a warm cup of chamomile, I invite you to think of Harold's early steps. Pay gentle attention to your body's signals: energy after meals, stiffness after long car rides, mood swings on rainy days, and ask, could a small adjustment in how I care for my intimate self ripple outward into better sleep, brighter mornings, easier movement? If that question nudges something inside you, write a quick yes below. If not, a respectful no is just as valuable. Your voice guides what I share next. I'm grateful you've spent these minutes with me. Your trust fuels my mission as both a physician and your friendly guide through this intricate chapter of life. Remember, small conversations can spark large transformations, just as Harold's simple question opened a door to deeper strength and comfort. Stay tuned, stay curious, and most importantly, stay kind to yourself. When Harold shuffled back into my office 3 weeks later, his cap clutched in both hands, I noticed that the familiar crease between his brows had softened. He'd taken our little experiment to heart: deep breathing at sunset, gentle pelvic stretches before bed, and 2 unhurried sessions of self-stimulation framed not as guilty indulgence but as quiet maintenance. "Doc," he said, settling into the chair, "I can't say I feel 25 again, but mornings seem lighter. My joints don't creak so loud, and Martha says I've been smiling in my sleep." That last part made him blush, but the pride in his voice was unmistakable. Harold's experience opened a doorway to another layer many men overlook: the conversation between pelvic muscles and the rest of the body. Think of your pelvic floor as a hammock of small but mighty fibers holding organs in place, orchestrating bladder control, erectile firmness, even lower back alignment. When regular erections wane, that muscular hammock can slacken. It's the same principle as arm muscles losing tone if you stop lifting groceries. Without the occasional rhythmic contraction involved in arousal and climax, the nerves and muscles down there may grow sluggish, whispering their discontent through back stiffness, unexpected leaks, or a dull heaviness after long walks. One afternoon, as Harold practiced slow Kegel pulses on his front porch, yes, men can do Kegels too, his grandson asked why Grandpa looked like he was counting invisible marbles. Harold laughed and explained he was training secret superhero muscles. That playful moment planted a new sense of agency. No longer was his body a baffling machine slowly winding down. It became a set of levers he could still oil and pull. And that mindset, my friends, is worth more than any pill in my prescription pad. Now, before we explore how restoring healthy pelvic tension can buffer urinary health and even posture, may I invite you once more to shape this conversation? A gentle tap on that thumbs up below tells the YouTube gremlins this topic matters. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Ring that bell so you never miss our weekly fireside chats. Drop a simple yes in the comments if you've tried Kegels or pelvic stretches, or no if this is brand new territory. I comb through each response over Saturday coffee to tailor future advice precisely for you. Back to Harold. Within a fortnight of adding mindful pelvic contractions, he noticed nighttime bathroom trips shrinking from 3 to 1. That's not magic, that's anatomy. Stronger pelvic muscles give the bladder better support, reducing those sudden urgent signals that yank us from our dreams. Likewise, improved blood flow encouraged by occasional self-pleasure helps the prostate stay supple, less likely to inflame and press on the urethra. Harold's urodynamic test, a fancy term for measuring bladder performance, showed smoother flow with less residual dribble, the kind that once forced him to linger anxiously at the toilet, waiting for one last drop. But health isn't only mechanical, it's relational. Martha, Harold's wife of 49 years, confessed during a joint visit that Harold's brighter mood had rekindled their evening walks. Conversation bloomed where silence once reigned, and though they weren't racing back to the honeymoon suite, the shared giggles returned. That spark speaks to oxytocin, the bonding hormone, released during any form of affectionate touch, including self-touch that leaves one feeling relaxed rather than depleted. Even solo care can ripple outward into partner connection by smoothing irritability and lifting self-esteem. When a man feels worthy in his own skin, he naturally radiates warmth. Some viewers write to me in quiet worry, "Dr. Easton, I quit masturbating for spiritual reasons. Am I doomed to pelvic weakness and mood dips?" The answer is no. What matters is replacing the physiological benefits with alternative practices. Tai Chi, brisk walking, water aerobics, deep belly laughter. Each triggers hormonal and circulatory cascades akin to sexual release. The key is intention. Harold's story illustrates that stepping away from automatic habits and stepping toward mindful body stewardship changes the equation entirely. Here's a simple routine you might weave into your day. After breakfast, stand near a sturdy countertop, feet hip-width apart. Inhale. Tighten the muscles you'd use to stop a stream of urine. Hold for a count of 5, exhale and release. Repeat 10 times. Follow with gentle hip circles to awaken those deep pelvic rotators. That whole sequence takes 3 minutes, the time it takes your toast to brown. Make it your new kitchen ritual, and watch how small, consistent moves reshape comfort over months. Another question lands in my inbox often. If I restart self-stimulation, how much is enough? Think dosage rather than compulsion. For many men, 1 to 3 times a week suffices to maintain vascular flexibility and hormonal balance. Frequency isn't a scoreboard, quality matters more. Choose moments when you're relaxed, not hurried, and view the experience as meditative body care. Keep hydrated, breathe deeply, and stretch afterward to aid blood return. The goal isn't peak performance, it's gentle circulation. Harold adopted what he jokingly calls Sunday maintenance. After mowing the lawn, he'd shower, settle into bed with soft music, and grant his body 10 mindful minutes. No screens, no rush, just presence. Over time, he reported clearer sinuses, warmer feet, and a surprising side benefit: his chronic constipation eased. That connection may sound odd, but the same pelvic nerves orchestrate bowel motility. Improved blood flow and rhythmic contractions revive gut rhythm, like tapping a stuck barometer, guiding pressure downward. Let's pause to touch on mental landscapes. For years, Harold equated aging with diminishing masculinity. The cultural narrative told him that after 60, desire dwindles, and with it, a sliver of identity. When he reclaimed body stewardship, whether through pelvic exercises or gentle self-pleasure, he wrote in his journal, "I feel like a steward of my seasons, not a passenger." That shift matters because mindset influences cortisol, the stress hormone that, when chronically elevated, dulls testosterone, stiffens arteries, and fogs thinking. Lower cortisol, meanwhile, frees energy for hobbies, grandkid adventures, and yes, affectionate banter with Martha. By now you might wonder, can lifestyle alone offset every drawback of abstaining? In truth, biology varies. Some men thrive with zero self-stimulation, buoyed by exercise and social ties. Others, like Harold, require a hybrid approach. The secret is honest observation. Keep a simple log for 6 weeks. Jot down sleep quality, mood, urinary comfort, stiffness upon waking, and relationship warmth. Patterns will emerge faster than any blood test can reveal. Share that log with your physician, or with me in the comments if you feel comfortable, and refine your routine from there. As Harold left my office that day, he straightened his shoulders, cap tilted at a jaunty angle. He said, "Doc, I never thought growing older could include this much learning." I grinned, because that revelation is the heart of healthy aging, curiosity-kindling empowerment. Whether you decide to reintroduce body maintenance or channel those energies into yoga and watercolor painting, stay curious. Curiosity feeds vitality like sunshine feeds a garden. Before I let you go, remember to share this video with a fellow grandfather or bowling buddy who might be too shy to ask these questions. You could be the nudge that saves him months of silent discomfort. And if you found value in Harold's progress, that like button is your way of saying, keep these conversations coming, Doc. Until our next chat, keep breathing deep, keep those secret superhero muscles awake, and treat your body as a wise partner in this remarkable journey beyond 60. 2 crisp Tuesdays after our last appointment, I bumped into Harold and Martha at the town farmer's market. They were admiring a basket of late summer blackberries, Harold cradling the fruit as though it were treasure. Martha whispered that he'd insisted on walking the full mile from their cottage instead of driving, a small victory that spoke volumes. Later, over steaming cups of hibiscus tea, Harold shared something new. While pruning rose bushes the evening before, a spontaneous, unhurried arousal had surprised him. No intentional, Sunday maintenance, no deliberate routine, just his body humming of its own accord, like a well-tuned violin testing its strings. That moment of spontaneity matters. It signals that vascular pathways we've been nurturing are regaining confidence, sending healthy pulses without the usual coaxing. Think of a dormant garden bed. Once the soil is turned, worms aerate and rain nourishes, volunteers, surprise shoots, pop up all on their own. For Harold, that unexpected stir translated into more than brief physical warmth. It cascaded through his whole system. He woke the next morning sharper, eager to tackle paperwork he'd put off for months. Such mental clarity is no coincidence. Dopamine, released during arousal, primes the brain's prefrontal cortex, the area governing motivation and goal setting. A flutter of desire can therefore spark a day of purpose. At this juncture, some of my patients furrowed their brows. "Dr. Easton, if my body no longer sends those flutters, am I broken?" Absolutely not. Remember, the goal isn't to chase teenage fireworks. It's to preserve healthy signaling so tissues stay nourished and the brain's reward system doesn't slip into hibernation. For men who choose lifelong abstinence, whether for faith, personal preference, or circumstance, other dopamine-boosting activities can stand in. Creative hobbies, brisk walks that slightly quicken breath, hearty belly laughs with friends. The principle is preserving the loop of stimulus and reward so the emotional landscape remains vibrant. Speaking of vibrancy, Harold's bloodwork offered concrete proof that gentle self-care ripples into metabolic health. His fasting blood glucose, once hovering in the pre-diabetic range, had ticked downward. Regular erections, even mild, encourage nitric oxide release, which doesn't just widen pelvic vessels, it also improves insulin sensitivity throughout the body. When we neglect that pathway entirely, glucose regulation may drift. Harold's subtle re-engagement acted like a mini vascular workout, akin to nightly stretches that keep hamstrings supple but on an internal scale. Before diving deeper into how nitric oxide weaves through heart, brain, and kidney health, may I invite your partnership again? If this conversation illuminates dots you hadn't connected, a quick like sends that signal into the digital world so more seniors can stumble upon reliable guidance. And if you've noticed any unexpected health improvements after tweaking your intimate routine, better energy, steadier blood sugar, type yes in the comments. If nothing's shifted yet, type no so I can address that experience in future chats. Your voices form the compass that steers each episode. Now, back to that vascular workout. Imagine your arterial system as an elaborate canal network. When the lock gates, your endothelial cells, receive regular pulses of nitric oxide, they open smoothly, letting blood glide without turbulence. Smooth flow means less friction, which means lower blood pressure and less wear on vessel walls. Harold's systolic reading dipped from 138 to 130 within 6 weeks. A modest yet meaningful shift. His cardiologist called it lifestyle gold, because small, sustainable drops often signal deeper resilience than drastic changes triggered by short-lived fads. Another delight unfolded in an unexpected place: Harold's knees. Years of kneeling over train tracks had left him with creaky joints. Yet he noticed fewer flare-ups after integrating short sessions of mindful self-stimulation. The link traces to prolactin, a hormone released post-climax that temporarily dampens pain perception and promotes restful sleep. While overindulgence can spike prolactin chronically, inadvertently blunting motivation, moderate, measured release provides a natural analgesic. Harold joked that he'd almost forgotten how it felt to spiral down a staircase without wincing at each step. That observation fed our next exploration: balance. Too little arousal invites vascular stiffness, too much strains hormonal harmony. The sweet spot lies in listening. I teach patients a traffic light check-in. Green means you rise from bed refreshed, joints supple, mood light. Your current routine serves you. Yellow means you're dragging by late afternoon or feeling edgy. Time to adjust frequency or enhance recovery activities like stretching or meditation. Red means persistent fatigue or pelvic discomfort. Pull back and consult a physician. Harold's journal reflections revealed he toggled between green and bright yellow, a vibrant palette compared to the dull gray he once reported. You might wonder whether the benefits extend beyond physical metrics to cognitive aging. Preliminary research suggests that men who maintain some level of sexual activity score marginally higher on memory tests. Possible mechanisms include periodic surges of acetylcholine and serotonin, compounds vital for neural plasticity. Harold experienced this firsthand when he began mastering crossword puzzles his granddaughter brought over. Patterns clicked faster, and frustration eased. That, in turn, boosted his self-esteem, feeding a virtuous cycle. Self-esteem spills neatly into prostate confidence. Many gentlemen dread the specter of benign prostatic hyperplasia, that slow enlarging gland pinching the urinary stream. While genetics and diet wield strong influence, ejaculation frequency appears to play a modest protective role, helping flush inflammatory byproducts. In Harold's follow-up ultrasound, his prostate volume remained steady compared to last year, bucking a trend of gradual growth. Was masturbation the sole hero? Certainly not. He also cut back on evening caffeine and added omega-3 rich sardines to lunch. But each thread strengthens the weave. During one consultation, Harold chuckled, "Doc, I've turned my bedroom into a health laboratory." He'd placed a small salt lamp for softer lighting, kept a journal on the nightstand, and programmed a gentle flute playlist. This ritual underscores an essential truth: context matters. Our nervous systems crave signals of safety. Dim, warm light calms the amygdala, allowing parasympathetic processes, rest, digestion, arousal, to unfold smoothly. If you attempt maintenance under glaring fluorescence while doom-scrolling headlines, your body reads danger, tightening vessels and disrupting the very benefits we seek. That same principle applies to widowers or those living alone who feel self-conscious about exploring solitary intimacy. I remind them, and you, that privacy is an act of self-respect, not secrecy. Lock the door, silence the phone, choose fabrics and scents that soothe you. Think of it as lighting a candle before meditation. Intention transforms routine into nourishment. Harold's intention spilled outward one Sunday when Martha joined him in gentle stretching on the living room rug. They laughed over failed attempts to touch toes, but the shared vulnerability invited new tenderness. Weeks later, Martha confided that, Though their physical intimacy remained gentler than in youth, the emotional closeness felt richer, like aged wine carrying deeper notes. That's the alchemy we chase. Physical care translating into relational bloom. A quick housekeeping reminder. If you're finding nuggets of wisdom worth passing on, share this video with a fellow marketgoer or chess club friend. We grow healthier together, conversation by conversation. As Harold and I wrapped our latest check-in, he confessed that his younger self might have scoffed at such detailed attention to private rhythms. Yet here he was, chalking off newfound milestones. Lower blood pressure, nimbler knees, sharper crosswords, a brighter marriage. I suppose, he said, eyes twinkling, that tending the garden down below helps every other flower stand a bit taller. His analogy lingered with me because it sums up this journey. When we nurture one corner of health, whole landscapes flourish. Carry that image with you tonight. Whether your garden needs a watering can, a pruning shear, or simply a bench from which to watch the bees, approach it kindly. Observe, adjust, celebrate small buds. And don't forget to jot a quick yes or no below. Your simple seed of feedback grows next week's discussion. Until then, may your canal gates glide smoothly, may your knees greet stairs with grace, and may curiosity guide each step on this path beyond 60. The sun slanted low through my office blinds when Harold arrived for what we both sensed would be our last formal check-in for a while. He settled into the chair with the same steady calm I'd noticed months earlier, yet something had shifted. The man who once measured days by aches and worries now radiated easy enthusiasm, as though life itself had clicked into a smoother gear. He produced a little notebook, creased, coffee-stained, cherished, and laid it on my desk like a passport stamped with the evidence of a journey well-traveled. Inside were tidy columns. Sleep hours, morning energy, mood notes scored with smiley faces, pelvic exercises logged alongside Sunday maintenance reflections. Between the data points Harold had doodled small roses, reminders of his garden where this transformation quietly began. He tapped a page mid-book. Look here, Doc. 7 straight nights of uninterrupted rest. Martha swears I don't even snore anymore. His grin turned boyish. I ran my finger across the line graph he'd sketched. It showed a gentle climb toward steadiness. A testament to what happens when a man over 60 treats intimate care not as taboo but as maintenance. No different from checking tire pressure before a long drive. That restful sleep, we both knew, anchored everything else. Quality slumber replenishes growth hormone, knits weary tissues, balances appetite regulators. For Harold, deeper sleep meant fewer sugar cravings, which in turn stabilized his weight and kept inflammatory markers low. The chain reaction fascinated him. It's like miracle dominoes, he said, laughing. Touch one, and the rest fall in place. I agreed, then pointed out another surge, his confidence curve. Since inviting mindful arousal back into life's rhythm, his voice carried a richer timbre, his shoulders sat back. And he wore colors brighter than the muted browns he'd favored. That shift, dear viewer, illustrates the soulful dimension of bodily stewardship. When hormones align and vessels hum, the spirit often steps forward less burdened. Now, some gentlemen ask whether this routine risks raising prostate cancer odds. Current evidence says otherwise. Moderate ejaculation, around 2 to 4 times per week, may slightly lower long-term risk by clearing potential irritants from the gland. The key, as always, is moderation, hydration, and annual screening. Harold had already booked his routine PSA test, accepting checkups not as harbingers of doom but as pit stops on the highway of longevity. As we flipped through his notebook, I saw another doodle, a small train puffing steam. Old habits die hard for a retired engineer. Underneath he'd written, momentum matters. Indeed it does. Once pelvic floor strength improved, Harold expanded his movement horizons, joining a low-impact dance class at the community center. He joked he had 2 left feet, yet the instructor praised his surprising hip flexibility. A flexibility seated by those secret superhero muscles we talked about in part 2. The tango steps, in turn, kept his cardiovascular system primed, echoing the nitric oxide benefits we explored last time. Round and round the circle went, each domain feeding the next. Here's where I pause and invite you again into the conversation. If Harold's story nudges you toward trying even one pelvic stretch or scheduling that checkup you've delayed, give this video a gentle like. It tells our ever-curious algorithm that senior men's health deserves front-row focus. And please, write a simple, yes, below if you believe momentum matters in your own journey, or, no, if you're still weighing the first step. I pore over these insights when shaping each episode. Your honesty serves as my compass. After reviewing the notebook, Harold leaned back and asked, almost shyly, Doc, do you think I should keep tracking every detail? Or is it time to trust the process? It was a lovely question. Data guides us, yet at some point we graduate from training wheels to coast with intuition. I told him the body eventually becomes its own feedback loop. Energy will flag if frequency drifts toward excess, joints will grumble if movement wanes, sleep will splinter if stress climbs. Listen, adjust, respect. That triad, I said, is the unspoken oath between man and body. We spent the final minutes envisioning the seasons ahead. Autumn blackberry harvests, winter evenings by the hearth, spring pruning rituals. Harold planned to weave Sunday maintenance into that seasonal tapestry, no longer rigidly scheduled but responsive to how his body felt after gardening or dance class. He and Martha were even considering a weekend retreat for seniors exploring intimacy after 60, eager to share their story and learn from others. The timid retiree who once whispered about vanishing desire now stood ready to mentor peers, proof that knowledge breeds confidence, and confidence fosters connection. If you're watching this thinking, I'm decades late to the party, let Harold be your invitation. The human body is forgiving. Vessels soften when given reason, muscles wake when called, hormones rally to small consistent cues. Begin with one action tonight. Maybe 3 gentle Kegel contractions as you brush your teeth, or jot a quick sleep log on your bedside notepad. Momentum loves modesty at first. It's easier to keep rolling a pebble than to shove a boulder from standstill. Before Harold left, he extended his hand, steady, warm. Thank you for treating an old railwayman like a brand new train, he said. I squeezed his palm and replied, you did the